Misty, it's 6 o'clock and I know that we're on a time constraint with the registrar's office. They have another commitment at 6:30, so I'm going to start. If we could hit record. Good evening, everyone. Board of Alders notice, New Haven. The City Services and Environmental Policy Committee of the Board of Alders will meet on Monday, August 16th, 2021 at 6 p.m. via video conference at https://bit.ly/3xcxaux and by phone at 646-558-8656. Webinar ID 978-5943-8325 to hear and act on the following items. For required password, contact public testimony at newhavenct.gov. Item number 1, LM-2021-0277 workshop and public hearing at which the registrars of voters and city town clerk would be present to discuss matters pertaining to voting procedure and election administration. Item number 2, LM-2021-0302, order of the New Haven Board of Alders designating the corner of Lilac and Butler Street as Mary C. Griffin Corner in perpetuity with her love, commitment, great contributions, and service to people in the New Hawville neighborhood. Item number 3, LM-2021-0303, order of the New Haven Board of Alders designating the corner of Brewster Street and Shelton Avenue as General Bishop Elijah Davis Jr. Corner in perpetuity to honor the life and legacy of Bishop Elijah Davis Jr. for his great contributions to the New Hawville community and city of New Haven. Per order, Honorable Anna M. Festa, Chair, attest Honorable Michael Smart, City Clerk. These items are on file and available in the office of the City Clerk, room 202 at 200 Orange Street, New Haven, Connecticut, 06510. Since this meeting will be held using solely electronic equipment, participation by a quorum of members at the same physical location is prohibited unless that location is made open to the public. Any member of the public may request in writing a physical location and any electronic equipment necessary to attend the meeting in real time, no later than 24 hours prior to the meeting. Said person shall have the same opportunities to provide comment or otherwise participate in the meeting as would be afforded if the meeting were held in person, with the following exception. Under law, the commission is not required to adjourn or postpone the meeting if any person loses the ability to participate because of interruption, failure, or degradation of any person's connection to the meeting by electronic equipment. For accommodations to view the meeting, please email public testimony at newhavenct.gov or call 203-946-6483. For accessibility related accommodations, please call 203-946-7651V or 203-946-8582 TTY/TDD. Public comment testimony may also be submitted via email to publictestimony@newhavenct.gov before 2 p.m. on the day of the meeting. If you wish to present testimony at the meeting, you must register in advance at https://bit.ly/3xcxaux or by calling 203-946-7934 or emailing publictestimony@newhavenct.gov before 2 p.m. on the day of the meeting for the required password. Public can view the meeting at https://bit.ly/3xcxaux or listen by phone at 646-558-8656. Webinar ID 978-5943-8325. The password to listen by phone only is 056-72078. Welcome, everyone. It's good to see you. We have these items on the agenda. We will start by introductions. I am Anna Festa, the chair of CSEP. Mr. Vice Chair.
Yes, Sal DeCola, Ward 18, Vice Chair.
Alder Antunes, is he on? I don't see him. Alder Roth,
Roth, Ward 7.
Alder Winter,
Stephen Winter, Ward 21.
Alder Singh,
Kenton Singh, Ward 5.
and Alder Smith.
Alder Honda Smith, Ward 30.
Welcome, colleagues. Always a pleasure. We're going to start with the workshop first because it was requested at our last meeting that we hear it first, and I want to honor that. And there's also the Registrar of Voters that have a commitment at 6:30. So we will begin with the Registrar of Voters. This is a continuation of our last meeting to recap what will happen with the next coming election, considering COVID is still out there, and what precautions, as well as answer some other questions that colleagues and the public had regarding how election day will take place. So with that, I see that we have Marlene Napolitano on board. We also have May Reed with the city clerk's office. We will start with the registrar's office. So Ms. Napolitano, if you would like to begin, the floor is yours. Please remember to, Marlene, I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to interrupt you 1 second. Marlene, we're having trouble understanding you. I don't know if it's a bad connection, but it's staticky. So you may want to try logging on again or checking your voice commands. No. It's actually worse.
If she has a phone, she can call in and we'll get to hear her.
Okay, just so you know, your voice is also crackling. You gotta love being online. Marlene, if you could dial in through the phone connection and speak through the phone, that might help understand you better or improve the communication. I'll give you a couple of minutes just because I know you're pressed for time. Marlene, you know what? I'm going to move on to May Reed because the static is pretty bad. Or is that you on the phone? Hey, Nisby, is that Marlene's phone number at the bottom? There is a number there.
I
Marlene,
apologize. I'm having trouble seeing it. Give me just a moment.
okay. It's a 946-6429 number. If that is Marlene's, then she needs to mute her computer and just unmute her phone once we get that confirmation.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
do you know if the registrar's office had written responses to the questions that were submitted?
It would be in your packet if they did.
Something, well, it wasn't in the packet we received on Friday. Did we receive something end of day during the workday?
No, ma'am. That's it.
Thanks.
Yes, I sent it out about an hour ago. So it was it included an attachment that was the answers from the Registrar of Voters.
And that just came to you?
Yes, it came to me this afternoon.
Okay, thanks, Misty, for sending it. I see the updated agenda. I guess it would have been nice to have this a little sooner, but it's out of your control and mine. Marlene, are you on? And if you are on the phone, if you could unmute, I'm giving you guys the opportunity to go first, but if you're not ready, then I'm going to move on to May Reed, the city clerk's office. Okay, you know what, May? I see that
Yes.
you're on. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
I apologize for the technical difficulties, but we'll move on with your report. So state your name and address for the record, please.
okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mamie Gardner. I live at 13 May Street, New Haven, Connecticut. I am the Assistant City Clerk in New Haven.
Okay.
Am I ready to proceed?
Yes, go right ahead. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the invite. Another opportunity to explain a little bit about absentee voting. And what I'm going to do is just respond to the questions that was sent over from the Board of Alders office. And the first question is, since there is only a primary in Ward 20, could one of the ballot boxes be temporarily moved somewhere in Ward 20 until after the primary? The answer to that is no. The boxes are owned by the state of Connecticut, but the city clerk's office has control over the boxes, and that's for security reasons. Here down in the downtown area around City Hall and Hall of Records, it appears that minimal vandalism or attempts to vandalize the boxes has been done since the election, since the November election. Stuff like graffiti has been, done to a couple of the boxes, but no damage as in trying to open the box, so any of the boxes, so to speak. We did open one of them just to check to see what it looked like inside, which is just the box waiting for, absentee ballots or something to go in the ballot box. So no, it cannot be moved. It's bolted down to the sidewalk. So they're not easily movable. We would have to hire a company to move it. We'd have to get permissions. It's a procedure or something. But we have decided that no, the boxes will remain where they are for security reasons. So that's that question. And we have addressed the graffiti issue to the boxes that was vandalized here downtown. The next question is the city clerk's office now fully open to the public? Yes. The city clerk's office is open to the public fully for regular business and for election business. The next question is, please describe the outreach you plan for Ward 20 about the ability to vote absentee due to COVID-19, including when it will begin. Absentee voting will begin next week, actually, next Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm saying Wednesday for sure. We will have the absentee ballots for the primary in Ward 20. Any interested resident who wants to vote in the primary is able to come into the office to do over-the-counter vote. Any resident who's registered to vote can request an absentee ballot through the mail for the primary. And that's about to the extent of the voting. We're not going to have extra hours or anything. This is a very, very small primary. And so we expect no problems right now. Regarding the general election in November, I'm not sure of the hours that we will have right now. We're not doing any mass mailings to the public. Again, if somebody wants an absentee ballot, they can request one through the mail. If someone wants to vote, we're open to the public to come in and vote over the counter. The applications from the state of Connecticut has been updated with the COVID excuse or COVID selection, if one cares to use that. So we're ready for that part. There will be no free mailing to the public right now either. You would have to use a stamp to mail it back to us or use the drop boxes that is always available. Even if a resident just wants an application, they have it, they can pick one up in the office anytime during the hours of 9 to 5 that we're here. And so it will be the same with the voting. And it'll be the same with the election. We will have some extended hours in the general elections, but this is just a small primary, so, but we're still here for the public. So we haven't done any, what we call outreach. I mean, the Registrar of Voters, they notify, I guess, the residents where the polling places are, and that's an outreach. That's a form of an outreach. They notify them that there's a primary. That's a form of an outreach. So we don't have anything put together being an outreach to the public saying there's a race in Ward 20 right now. Your other question is, since there's a chance of a significant number of people who will vote absentee in a general election, will you send volunteers? Will you need volunteers to help sort ballots like you did in November or for the November 2020 election? If so, how should interested volunteers coordinate with us? Me personally, I don't see the election being as heavy as the presidential election, but we're hoping that everybody who's registered to vote in the November election will vote for mayor. It is up to the residents. You know, it's up to the people that's registered if they want to vote or not. I'm wishing everybody well who's running for office, but we are here. We accommodate as best we can. Nothing's set in stone yet. We get a lot of our direction from the state, but we're here for the public, the residents in New Haven, if they want to vote. But I don't anticipate it being as heavy as the presidential election in 2020. And the last question, or the next question is, at our last meeting, we were asked if the state central voter registration system would be working for the primary and for the general election. My answer, I'm happily to say, I'm just so happy. It's done. It is done. I'm so happy that it's done. And I look forward to us getting a good report that it got paired right and that people will be happy that they can see that their ballot has been issued and returned. So yes, 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 it is done. Thank you for the push and thank you for your patience in that. And the last question on here is, when do absentee ballots become available for the general election? Well, generally, I don't have a date yet. The state has not sent us a date yet, but generally, the ballots are ready 3 weeks or a little better than that before the general election. I would say somewhere around October 20th or the 22nd, somewhere like that for the general. Again, we will, the Registrar of Voters has more of an outreach with saying when those ballots can be picked up. They have a more outreach and saying, okay, this is the polling place. Now the people know that, okay, the absentee ballots are ready. So that's all I have to report at this time.
Thank you, May. I appreciate it. And before I ask colleagues for questions, I will hear from the registrar's office since we only have a few more minutes with them. May, I appreciate it. I just have, just one thing while you're on the absentee ballots. Actually, if there are students are going back to school or have gone back to school, if they need an absentee ballot through New Haven, will it be sent to their school on time, and will PO boxes be accepted? Or is that more for the registrar? Did you leave us, May? Okay, just hold that thought. Marlene, you are on. If you're on the phone, it is *6 to unmute. And if you could state your name and address for the record, that would be great. Are you there? Okay, just talk. Let me hear if we have a good connection. Not a good connection.
I'm in the office with Elizabeth, and this is the best we can do at the moment, I guess.
We can't.
Office, this isn't it. You understand what that answer is saying?
Marlene, we can't understand you. Marlene, I'm sorry. We still can't understand you. Marlene, can you hear me? We can't understand you.
Is this in the chat somewhere? President said, no, never mind.
You may want to. You may want to try again. Marlene, if you can hear me, unfortunately, the connection is really bad. So you may want to try calling in. And if you could just mute yourself for the time being, I'm going to open, thank you. I'm going to open it up to questions.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Lizzie. Can you hear me?
With an echo.
I'm sorry about the echo. Is this better now?
No. No, the echo just keeps going. So if you're gonna talk, the echo is gonna override your next statement. So if there's some way of reconnecting, maybe just trying to reconnect, and I can wait for you as we question the city clerk's office. It could be, the echo could be that there are too many monitors open as well, too many devices.
It's just me and Elizabeth here in the office.
Try logging on again. Meantime, I'll move to questions from my colleagues. So, Vice Chair DeCola, do you have any questions for the city clerk's office?
No, no questions at this time, Madam Chair.
Alder Roth, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a couple questions and just a couple statements. First of all, thank you, May, for always reliably coming and presenting to us. I really appreciate your thoughtful answers. I also appreciate your enthusiasm and the work to have the state system pair with the city. I think that will be a huge help to people. So thank you for that. My two questions. First, it sounded like, I just want to make sure I understand that you do not think you'll need volunteers to help sorting absentee ballots for the general election, but I just want to double check, because I hear from a number of people who are eager to help if you do need people to help sort, and just want to be able to inform them.
May, are you there? Because we can't hear you.
If we can't connect, I mean, we can just follow up offline on that question. I guess my other thing, maybe my final thing is just a statement and not really a question, actually, and it has to do with the Dropbox for Ward 20. I do find it disappointing that there's not the ability to move a Dropbox. It is the only ward in the city with a primary election, particularly as COVID rates are higher. I think there will be people who will want to vote absentee, and making it as easy as possible for people to have access to vote absentee, I think is really important. I kind of the thought that it's less secure in one part of the city than the other, I don't really understand. And the fact that it's actually bolted down shows it's secure. And I think it would be worthwhile to unbolt it and move it temporarily. So I just wanted to state that for the record, that I'm sorry that it can't be moved for the primary one ballot box. Thanks.
Thank you, Alder Roth. May, if you're on, if you could answer those questions. Otherwise, we will formulate an email if you could follow up. Alder Winter, any questions for the city clerk's office?
Thank you, Madam Chair. A similar vein, I would like to know if the city clerks looked at some of the locations like the substation in Ward 20, or maybe Lincoln Bassett School, where there might be video cameras or other things that would allay some of the concerns around security. I think they're reasonable concerns, but I think that there could be some locations where the concerns could be addressed. And for folks who are worried about the Delta variant or other variants of COVID, that they could make use of the drop boxes.
Thank you, Alder Winter.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Do you have any further questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. Alder Singh, do you have any questions for the city clerk's office?
No question, Madam Chair. Just want to thank Mayor Reed for coming on and being with us and answering some of the question that was presented. Thank you.
Thank you, Alder Singh. Alder Smith, any questions for the city clerk's office?
No questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I will make note of those questions and follow up with, oh, I hear it. May, is that you?
That is not. Oh, there's that record.
Yeah, Christina, hold on.
Yeah. My phone is off. Your phone is on.
Maybe we should do a song with that background on, the registrar's office and the city clerk's office. Should we try again? First of all, May Reed, are you still on where you can address some of the questions?
She's even echoing every.
Okay, I think we need to probably move on with these technical difficulties. So as far as the registrar's office, if you want to try and log on, or I know that questions were submitted. If those questions have not been answered, please answer them at least via email so we can have them at hand to share the information. The purpose of having it here is so that the public could hear it firsthand from your office as to what the procedures will be. That was the purpose of this workshop. It was called by the public, for the public. We have poor communication. I feel like we're trying to contact Mars here. So we're going to move on. Yes, Alder Roth.
Madam Chair, can I just comment? I tried to sort of skim through the responses of the registrar's office. Can I just make a comment on one of them? I don't know if they can hear us, but we can maybe through the chair, I'd like to share my comment with them if they can't hear us.
Yes.
I guess we have repeatedly asked the question if there could be a find your polling location button on the
Alder Roth,
website.
just excuse me 1 second. If everyone can mute themselves, that would be greatly appreciated. Go ahead, Alder Roth. I'm sorry.
No, thank you, Madam Chair. I mean, several times over the past couple of years, we've asked if there can be a simple button, find your polling location on the website. And the response we continue to get is there is a link that takes you to that, but the link has a difference. It says, it asks, click here to see if you're already registered. If I'm trying to figure out where my polling location is, I'm not going to click that link because that's not an obvious link to click if I'm trying to find my polling place. And so I really don't understand why that button cannot be placed on our city's website. I think it would be really helpful to people, and it's a simple fix. And I'm unclear if it's not clear why we want it there, or if they're frustrated that we keep asking for it, or what it is. But I really do hope they will seriously consider adding that button because I think it would benefit them.
Yeah. Listen to this. That could have sounded like in my office after.
Wait, I'm sorry. We have bad communication. We can't understand you, so I'm sorry we're having poor communication, but
Log back in. Try to log back in. Yep. Log out and try to log back in.
What was that?
We're gonna ask them to log out and try to log back in.
Okay. Meantime, I'm just going to continue with the questions, and hopefully they have jotted these down. So if they do log back on and it's okay. All right. Alder Roth, do you have any further questions? Alder Winter, do you have any questions for the registrar's office?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also share the concern about the find your polling location link, and would like that to be addressed as soon as the website can be updated. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Alder Singh.
I also like to echo my colleagues to have the button to find your location in the site.
Polling place finder.
It's am I registered?
Alder Smith.
I'm all set, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Al, are they back on, or Misty? Don't see them.
Well, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I'm here with them,
Okay, perfect.
so they can answer any questions you have quickly because they're late. They're reminding me.
Did they hear any of the questions, particularly the registrar's office with the option to look up your polling place? It doesn't seem to work on site. It should be something simple, and it seems like the request has been made and nothing. If someone can address that.
Anna,
Yes,
it's Marlene. Can you hear me?
yes. Now we can. Hi, Marlene.
Hi, how's everybody?
Okay, sorry about the communication problems. We just couldn't hear you. Were you able to capture any of the questions that were asked just now, particularly the find your location?
Yes, and I'm on our webpage on the city website. And to the left of the page, there are some tabs. And the second one says, am I registered / polling place finder? So if you were to click on that particular tab, it will tell you whether you're registered or not. And if you are registered, where your polling place is. And also too, on the body of the page, there's a box and it says, are you registered? And it says, click here to see if you are already registered. And then you can also go down further, I believe. I'm missing it. Hold on one second. Oh, and if you were not registered, it says to register online, click here. So I'm not really sure what else you would be looking for.
Alder Roth, would you like to address this since?
Sure, I'm trying to look if the first thing that was mentioned is new, because
No,
what
No,
you said,
that-
your polling, am I registered polling place finder? Has that always been there?
yes,
You sure? It really has been. Okay. I somehow polling place finder.
it's off to the side, to the left-hand side of our webpage.
And maybe it doesn't show up on a mobile device.
It's,
In
well,
that
we have
way.
it right, yeah, we have it up on Liz's phone right here.
Huh. Okay. No, that's actually, I had not seen in the past the answer, and the answer now is that there's the are you registered button, but I hadn't known that it had the / I sort of looked at that, so that's helpful to know. So that's good. Thanks.
You're more than welcome.
Okay, and I just tried it and it did work. So that's good. Alder Roth, while we have you, do you have any other questions, or better yet, let me do this. Marlene, can you address some of the questions that were submitted to you via email?
Any in particular, or should I just pick and choose? Hello?
If you could run down the questions that were sent. It looks like there's maybe 10.
Okay, well, the first one you asked, what role do you play in redistricting? If you have a role, please provide details on when that begins and how you will update residents. Well, we don't really have a distinct role in redistricting. Our understanding is that will come down from the state level to the local level, and that would then include you, the Board of Alders. We would like to work with you when that does happen. So when the lines are redrawn for the wards, that we are, knowledgeable on that. And then we would have the information to pass on to the electors who would be affected by the change. The
You
next
could go
question.
right, yeah, you could go right down the line.
Okay, hon, I am. Since there is only a primary in Ward 20, approximately how much money will the city save that it had anticipated to spend on a citywide primary? Well, honestly, at this time, we do not have a definitive answer to that question. Hopefully, we'll be able to have one for you after the primary. Please describe the COVID-19 measures that will be in place for Ward 20 primary, and that will be in place for the general election citywide. At this time, we are going to be following the city guidelines, and if any adjustments are to be made, we will make them as becomes required. Will you have no more than one location for election day registration for the general election? And if so, where is the second location? For the general election this year, we will only have one location, and it will be City Hall, 165 Church Street, New Haven. I think we've addressed the next question, which is about the link on our website. Okay. Thank you for updating the list of ward voting locations. Could the heading for the chart be changed from 2021 polling list to 2021 polling locations? We did send up a request to web changes, and the change has been made. So it now reads 2021 polling locations. Is the registrar's office now fully open to the public? Yes, we are. The building's been open since July of this year. And although our office was closed to the public since March of 2020, we have always been available here in the office to assist the public. When will the voting location postcards be sent out for the general election? And when will they include information about needing to wear a mask? The postcards are sent out approximately 3 weeks before the election, the general election. And at that time, we will include any guidelines as provided by the city. How do you plan to deal with anyone who refuses to wear a mask when they vote? Also, at that point, we will be following any city guidelines or any direction we get from the state. Do you need help finding people to work the polls for the general election? Or do you feel like you have enough interested people based on your recruitment efforts to date? And the answer is no, we do not require additional help at this time. But thank you for the questions. And we go on to, I'm getting there.
Okay.
In the general election, will there be a special line for college students living in dorms at polling places with lots of student voters as in the past? The answer to that is no, it is really not required in a municipal year. And the last question, are you doing outreach to local colleges to have students update their voter registration if they have moved since last year? We have reached out to Yale, and they have agreed to update their website for us. And also our page on the city website has a listing of the Yale dorms and their respective polling places, locations.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to open it up to my colleagues for any further clarification or questions. So we'll start with the vice chair. Alder DeCola, do you have any questions?
No questions at this time, Madam Chair.
Alder Roth?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Marlene, I appreciate your persistence in getting through to be able to speak, and also again for having made that change at some point to add that link. My one thought is it might be useful in reaching out. I know to Yale it's an issue, and perhaps with other local colleges. There's a lot of students who live off campus now. Particularly, I think the trend started during COVID with more people living off campus, that they may not realize that if they live off campus, they go to a different polling location. So perhaps Yale can just in some way, and other schools, if it's applicable, communicate that like, hey, if you're not living in the dorm, like you don't go to that place to vote anymore, you should figure out where to vote if you live on whatever street you now live on. And I guess it comes to my mind because I think it's probably an issue for my ward with people. I have a lot of students who live in my ward who perhaps used to live in dorms.
Okay, I will discuss this with Chanel and hopefully we can come to some conclusion for that.
Right, yeah, and again, I think it's probably the burden really is on the school, but maybe just mention to them that they may want to communicate with students.
Yeah, we can reach out to Yale again and make that suggestion to them, absolutely.
And Marlene, can you add Southern Quinnipiac as well as Albertus? Because a lot of those students as well live in different wards, not just on campus.
Okay.
Alder Winter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for making the change to adding the polling finder in the sidebar of the website. I do think that's helpful. And it's good to see that done. I also think it'd be helpful to add it to the main text on the registrar's page so that it's also really prominent along with the "Are you registered?" information. I think it's also great that there's the Yale polling locations. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Alder Winter. Alder Singh.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No question at this time.
Alder Smith.
I don't have a question, but I just would like to thank Marlene and Chanel for being proactive in Ward 30 by making us aware of our polling locations change, and by working so diligently with myself to make sure that we're able to notify every resident of changes that were to happen. I know sometimes that registered voter gets a lot of bad rap. People said that they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, but I must say that they have worked hard to make sure and to bring awareness of where the polling location was going to be, and also educating the people on, how they are supposed to vote. So I just want to say, Marlene, thank you. And please tell Chanel also, thank you for your hard work, because you guys work so hard out here to make sure that every resident is aware of the changes that are about to happen. Thank you, Marlene. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Alder Smith. Marlene, I just have a follow-up question to something you said regarding the cost of what it is to run an election for a ward, and you need the answer from the state. Do we have an approximate cost of what we've spent in the past?
We probably do, but I just don't have that available to me at this time.
Okay, just so we have an idea, do you mind getting us that information? That would be helpful to at least have an idea.
Yep, I will take care of it.
All right, the next thing, because this was a workshop and public hearing, I'm going to open it up to the public for any questions. I do see, let's see, that if there's anyone from the public that would like to speak on this on behalf of the registrar's office and the city clerk's office, I see Aaron Good's name. He was the maker of this communication. Aaron, if you could raise your hand, we can let you in. There you go. Missy, if we could let Aaron Good in. And then if there's anyone else from the public that would like to speak on behalf of the registrar's office, city clerk's office, just raise your hand and we will let you into the room. Good evening, Mr. Good. Good to see you. If you could state your name and address for the record and then speak, go right ahead.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. Aaron Good, 45. Sorry, I just moved. I keep forgetting that. My current address is 702 Quinnipiac Avenue, New Haven.
Did you change your registration?
I appreciate the committee holding another hearing on this and workshop. Last fall's election was overall very successful one, thanks to the tremendous hard work and dedication of all of our registrars, moderators, poll workers, clerk's office, etc. I do think it is useful to have a workshop and hearing like this at least once or twice a year, whether or not the most recent election went smoothly or not. It's especially important now because our voting procedures are continually in flux due not just to COVID, but also to lots of changes that are happening in state law that are designed to make it easier for people to vote. So it's important to review those changes at the local level, do it in a transparent way so the public knows what's going on. So just a couple of points which you've already kind of gone over. The website, I really do appreciate the recent updates to the website and the new information that's there. The link to the absentee ballot application was not working at the time of the last CSEP workshop on July 1st. That was quickly fixed, so thank you so much for doing that. The polling place, that's great. The new GIS map for Find Your Alder. There's a great GIS map there that allows you to look up which ward you're in. That's very useful. It's a great use of digital mapping technology. It would be good if you could add a layer to that that shows you which of the 2 Board of Education districts that you're in as well. I get a lot of questions about that. The League of Women Voters gets a lot of questions about that. I don't know which BoE district I'm in and whether I will be voting on that this fall or not. So if you could just add another GIS layer for that, it would be great. Also, I still do not see any information on the website about who is eligible to receive an absentee ballot. There's no information that the absentee ballot eligibility law was just changed in June in the special legislative session by Senate Bill 1202. That's very important information. It's really just a matter of copying and pasting what's on the Secretary of the State's website. I think that would be sufficient. The Ward 30, the consolidation of those polling places there, it sounds like Alder Smith is on top of that and the registrars are on top of that. So that's great. Obviously, we want to make sure every effort is made to notify voters in what was, formerly voting district 30-2, that they have to go to Brennan Rogers school. So it sounds like that's happening. That's great. The drop boxes, I would just agree with Alder Roth and Alder Winter that it doesn't make that much sense to me to have 4 drop boxes downtown and none in the actual ward where there is an election going on. The A/B tracking, I'm really, really happy to hear that we'll be using the state CVR database. League of Women Voters, we got a lot of questions and concerns, complaints about that. So that's really fantastic to hear. People will be able to track their ballots and know if they've been counted. So thank you to the clerk's office for making that happen. And I made this comment in July 1st just about the redistricting. It's true, redistricting is not going to affect this year's election. We do need to be planning proactively about how we're going to educate voters about changes that are going to inevitably affect many of them. The census data has shown there's a lot of population growth in New Haven. There's going to be a lot of changes, especially around downtown, but in other wards as well. Details are unknown at this point, but there are educated guesses we can make about what polling places are likely to change, how many voters are going to be affected, and we should have some kind of education outreach campaign that's ready to go when we do know the exact nature of those changes to our district lines. And as I suggested previously, I think the registrars may want to compile a brief summary or report about how many voters are currently affected by district lines that cause their polling place to change from even to odd years, because that information may be useful to the aldermanic committee that is in charge of redistricting as they are going through their deliberations. So, and again, I just want to reiterate the League of Women Voters, very glad to assist the clerk's office last year with sorting absentee ballot in the weeks leading up to election day. It sounds like that probably will not be necessary this year, but we are, if it is necessary, if we're called on, we're happy to do that again if we're notified sufficiently in advance. Our annual meeting was in July 28th, and our executive committee unanimously agreed that we would mobilize our membership to do whatever we can to assist with a smooth election. So thank you again, Madam Chair, for holding this hearing, and I look forward to another problem-free election on September 14th and also in November for all of our voters. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Good. Appreciate your due diligence in making sure that all our voices are heard. I saw Delphine Clyburn. Hi. Do you have a question regarding the registrar's office and city clerk's office?
Okay, can you hear me now? I was trying.
Yes, you are on.
No, I didn't have a question, but listening to everything tonight, I just would like to say also thank you as being a former alder to the registrar's office and also the clerk's office for the years that I can remember. They have been right there helping us, you know, coming out at the ward, doing an election or primary, giving all the help they can. So I want to say thank you to them, and I see the new direction that is going, but I want to say thank you so much to them for what they have done and is doing. So thank you, Chair Festa, for giving me this time to say that to them.
Thank you, Delphine. We appreciate it.
Thank you, retired Alder Clyburn. And you can probably stay in the room since the next two items, I'm sure you will have words to say. Before we let this item go, I just want to reach out to the committee members. If you have any additional questions, comments, concerns for the registrar's office or city clerk's office, please raise your hand. Alder Roth.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did have one final question that I've gotten from some constituents. I think this is for the registrars. Is there a ballot question on the ballot in November about voting, kind of how voting should be going forward? I wasn't sure if there's a ballot question this year or not until next year.
Hey, Abby, it's Marlene. It's possible, but we're not really sure at this time. So as soon as we find out, we'll let you know.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any further questions from the committee members? And is there anyone from the public that would like to speak regarding Election Day or election processes? I see a hand up, Misty. Miss Rossi Simmons. If we could let them in the room. Again, this is regarding what we've been talking about with election processes, questions for the registrar's office or the city clerk's office. Hello there, Mr. Simmons. If you can unmute and state your name and address for the record, and then the floor is yours. Welcome.
Yes, my name is Horace Simmons, 157 Reed Street in New Haven, Connecticut. Just wanted to commend everybody on a fine job they're doing with the elections, and just wanted to say that they're going smooth and keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons. And I know that you are slated to speak with one of the items for the corner naming. So you can stay on hold while we wrap up this first item.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
Again, I'll just ask one more time if there's anyone from the public that would like to speak on this item, to just raise your hand. Okay, I don't see any. Thank you to Marlene. Really appreciate you being here tonight to clarify some really important questions and making the election process hopefully run smooth as it did last year. So really appreciate you taking the time out this evening to do that. And you don't have to stay on, you can go. This will be a read and file item anyway. So I appreciate again you being here tonight and for all your hard work in your departments.
Thank you, Anna. I'd like to say one more thing.
Yes.
If anybody has any questions or concerns, they can also feel free to reach out to our office directly, either to myself or to Chanel.
Do you want to give the number out? Just so
The main
folks know.
number, the main number is 203-946-8035.
Great, thank you. And thanks again for being here tonight. Appreciate both of you being here. Have a good night, ladies.
You too, thank you.
Thank you. We will now move on to the second item, which is the corner naming for Mary C. Griffin. So if we can have the folks who will be testifying and speaking on behalf of this item. Again, it's in regard to Mary C. Griffin corner naming. And Alder Clyburn, I will call on you to begin. If you could state your name and address for the record and then go proceed with what you want to say, that would be great.
Thank you, Chair Festa. Delphine Clyburn, 150 Harbor Close. I want to, tonight, this is a great night for me to speak of Mrs. Griffin's work that she have done in the community. Even before I became alder, when I was out, her and I doing the petition getting names, I met people that I did not know, and they said they would sign that petition 4 times if they had to. They told me about her being a teacher at the school. They talked about, and which I did not know, she didn't share that, but I was saying, wow. And they were commenting her on how she have encouraged them through the years and helping them with their families. That was so awesome for me. All the great things they spoke of her. And I said, you know, it is so true. But, you know, even before I became alder of Ward 20, Ms. Griffin has been a pillar for Ward 20. She continues to support Ward 20. She started in 2011 with me, and she still can continue to support the ward. And when I met her, they used to call her the mayor of Ward 20. And later on, I learned what that meant. She was well known by everyone and their families, and put time, her strength and time into their lives. And also the upkeep of the ward. She was involved with all, you know, the cleanups and whatever she could do, she would do. And personally, she helped me with the cooking for our elderly at Newhall Gardens. During the time we celebrate their birthdays, we would celebrate every elderly's birthday who lived at Newhall Gardens in July, and she would help do the cooking and going to the store buying what she chose to cook. She also helped me with Christmas time, getting gifts for them, Easter time, giving them flowers. She also helped us with the Thanksgiving dinner that we did in the ward with Grace Chapel. She would also donate food and be over the dessert table. That was her favorite. She loved baking. Oh yeah, that's another thing. We love her baking all the time. During the management team meeting, she would bring a cake, give us some nice cake. I'm just so grateful to her. And also she helped me when we used to deliver the Thanksgiving dinners or food for fish and monthly deliveries. She used to help me with that when she had her strength for that. So, and then just being a great supporter to me and an encourager for me. I just want to thank her, and I know this is a well-deserved thing to do for her. I heard a lot of people saying that, oh yes, she should have this corner naming. So I'm just grateful. I'm sad that I'm not her alder, but she know I love her. But this is going to be great for her. And I really want this to happen while she has her strength and she can understand what's going on and get a chance to see this. And so it can settle in her heart that she is loved by Ward 20 and people all over the city. So thank you again, Chair Festa. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Alder Clyburn, for your words and for everything that you have done as well for your ward. You were a dedicated alder as well. So is there anyone else that is going to be testifying regarding this corner naming? If they could raise their hand, and any attendees from the public that would like to testify regarding the Mary C. Griffin Corner naming. Okay. Alder Clyburn, do you know if there was anyone else that was going to speak on this topic?
Her daughter and they're now alder, acting alder. To my understanding, they were going to be on tonight. So I don't know if there's.
Okay, I do see phone numbers in the attendee list, but I don't know if any of these names, any of the numbers correlate. Oh, I see them being entered. Okay.
Okay, maybe that's some of them calling.
Okay, I'm gonna start with the first phone number that I see because there are no names on here. If you could, once I read your telephone number, if you can unmute yourself with the *6 function on your phone, that would be great. The first number I see is 203-843-7993. Again, if you can unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record and testify, that would be appreciated. Again, it's the number that ends in 7993. *6 is the function to unmute. Can you hear me? Okay, I'm going to move on to the next number that I see, which ends in 1200. Again, the function for the phone is *6. Oh, okay.
Hello.
Is that the 1200 number?
No, this is a 7993. This is Sean
Okay.
Hardy from New Haven, Connecticut.
Okay. if you could state your name and address for the record and present your testimony, that would be appreciated.
And yes, good evening, everyone. This is Sean Hardy from New Haven, Connecticut. Morrow Sheridan Interdistrict Magnet School, as well as 20 Elliott Street, New Haven, Connecticut, 06519. And I believe I am speaking in regards to the corner for Bishop Elijah Davis Jr.
I'm going to interrupt you. That is actually the next item. This one is in regard to Mary C. Griffin. So you can hold on.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I know her well. She's a beautiful person. I've known Mary Griffin all of my life. Her and my mother were very good friends. They graduated from the School of Hairdressing and Cosmetology. And I was born and raised in Pitts Chapel, and she served in that church for years before moving over to First Cavalry. So I've known Mary Griffin all of my life, and she is a superb community leader. She's a beautiful individual, and my heart goes out to her because she is superb. Very active in the community, very well committed to the New Haven community and the church community. And I can just say I love myself, Miss Mary Griffin.
Well, I sense that from the excitement in your voice, and that is so appreciated. So thank you for testifying, and stay on hold for the bishops.
I'm ready for the bishop, yes.
Okay. So hold on, and
Okay.
I will call on you again. Okay, 1200. Are you speaking on behalf
Yes.
of Mary C. Griffin?
I'm actually speaking on behalf of Mary Griffin, and also I'm the new pastor at Pitts Chapel Unified Free Will Baptist Church, and along with Sean Hardy. Let me give my address to 64 Jedwin Avenue, New Haven, Connecticut, 06511. I'm the new pastor at Pitts Chapel Unified Free Will Baptist Church, and along with Sean and our family, I grew up in Pitts Chapel, and Mother Griffin was an asset not only in Pitts Chapel at that time, also in our community. And she was a very important pillar in the Pitts Chapel Church, and now she's at First Cavalry. And I agree along with the members at our church and Sean, we love us some Mother Griffin. And naming that street sign will be such an important accolade for her from everything that she's been through in her life. And while she's still able to see the sign, I believe we should give her flowers now. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. And if you're also speaking on the next item, you can stay on hold.
Thank you.
And that's okay. Okay, 6226, phone number ending in 6226. If you could *6 your phone to speak, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Elder Gloria Brown. I'm speaking on the behalf of Bishop Elijah Davis, and I think you said that was next.
That's correct. If you're only speaking on the bishop's behalf, just hold on and we'll get to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then there's 4640, phone number ending in 4640. If you could hit *6 to unmute and just let us know if you're speaking on behalf of the Mary C. Green Corner or the Bishop's Corner. Hi.
Yes, hi, my name is Christopher Davis. I am actually the son of Bishop Elijah Davis, so I'm speaking on his behalf next.
Okay, perfect. I will call on you when the time comes. So thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to testify regarding the Mary C. Griffin Corner? I see a lot of phone numbers coming in and now I'm going to get distracted. So are these all for? Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold all the testimony for both items till the end. I will open it up to my colleagues to ask any questions regarding the Mary C. Griffin Corner naming. So starting with my vice chair, Alder DeCola, anything that you would like to ask? Okay, we'll come back to Alder DeCola. Alder Roth.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no questions. I appreciate all the people joining to chime in. So I'm eager to hear them. Thank you.
Alder Winter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No questions at this time. It sounds like a wonderful effort. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Alder Singh.
No question at this time, Madam Chair. Thank you.
And Alder Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was waiting for this moment. This moment should, I'm excited about it for Ms. Griffin. I've known Ms. Griffin for over 30 years. I really got to know her once I really start working in the city for the Department of Public Works. Alder Clybourne had said everything in which that I wanted to say, but I want to reiterate, I think just naming this corner Mary Griffin Way is not enough. I think it should be Mayor Mary Griffin Way. Ms. Griffin has been a mother to many, many young people besides her own children, taking a lot of people into her home to feed them, even to shelter them. It's well deserved for her to get this street named after her. I remember working with Ms. Griffin. She didn't mind putting her feet in the dirt, hands in the dirt, and then going home to make some cakes to feed everyone, even on the block and the whole community, in which that she had done. Ms. Griffin is just a wonderful woman all the way around. She's a beautiful queen, and she should be recognized. This recognition of naming this street corner is just small. She deserves something bigger. Maybe she
here
should
we go.
Queen Mary Griffin Way. But this is a beautiful thing in which that we're doing, and I truly support this 100% for Ms. Griffin, because she's been a great woman all the way around. And this is a way to give her flower. And I appreciate those that have put this out to give this flower to her, because it's well deserved. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Alder Smith, for your very generous and kind words. What I'm going to do next is, we went through the committee, I'm going to move on to the next item, which is the corner naming for General Bishop Elijah Davis Jr. And I believe Alder Clybourne, would you like to begin?
Well, I would like to, yes, thank you, Chair Festa. I just went to the church. I was, when I was older, I would like to visit the churches, and I visit Bishop Elijah Church, and just an awesome man welcomed me in. Even after church, sometime you don't really, after you have given out the word of God, you don't have strength. But he gave me his strength after service to sit and talk with me, and I appreciate him. And just hearing over the years all that he have done for that community is awesome. So I'm grateful to have met him. Great man, great bishop. He's given his life and strength there. And this is a great honor for him. And I'm glad that his church decided to do this for him. And I supported it 100%. Even walked for him, even walked with Mrs. Carr to get those petitions. I fell one night, but we got them. I said, girl, come on, we have to get this. And I'm just so happy that this is done, that is in. So thank you. And I want to thank his church members too that's on. So thank you, Chair Festa.
Thank you, Alder Clybourne, for your comments. I'm going to start with other testifiers. So if we could let Mr. Simmons in, Misty, because I think he wanted to go first. There you are. Mr. Simmons, if you could once again state your name and address for the record, and go right into your testimony.
Yes, yes. My name is Horace Simmons. I'm at 157 Reed Street in New Haven. And Madam Chair and Vice Chair and everyone, I just wanted to speak on the behalf of Bishop Davis. And also I'd like to recognize Daphne Clyburn, this great older woman. And but Bishop Davis is it would be historical if it could be named after him for the children to see. It's right across the street from Lincoln Bassett School, and it would be historical if it could be named after him, because they're going to ask who was he, and they could be told that he was at the church on Brewster Street, 64 Brewster Street. He performed weddings, did funerals, did baptisms, christenings, did peace walks, had different things for children, had a lot of cookouts, picnics. A lot of people came through Pitts Chapel that are now ventured out and have other churches. And the church has a elevator, it has a church bus. So a lot was accomplished in his years that were there. Through rain, shine, snow, he hears a lot of problems from the members, as well as, I guess, other churches too. And oh, by the way, he's a vice bishop of the National Conference, which includes other churches in other states like New York, North Carolina, New Jersey, nationally. So I think it's a great honor to have the corner named after him, because it would help our young people as well to see that there is right being done. Not everything is bad, you know. And so, as well as Mary Griffin, I think that's a great idea and historical, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons, for your testimony. It's very much appreciated. I will move on now to the next person, which I'm going to just say the last 4 digits of your phone number, and I'm going to go back to 7993 because I know that you had words to say. If you could hit *6 to unmute.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes, you could state.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, this is Sean Hardy. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
So
this
if
is
you
Sean
could
Hardy.
state- Perfect. State your name and address and move on to your testimony. Thank you.
All right. This is Sean Hardy from New Haven, Connecticut. I was born and raised in Pitts Chapel Free Will Baptist Church. I'm now a member of Agape Christian Center. Bishop Elijah Davis Jr. is directly related to my parents. I would like to say when I first knew who Bishop Davis was, I was 9 years old. I've known Bishop Davis before he ever started preaching. He was Cousin Elijah. He was Brother Davis. Then he became Minister Davis. Then he became Elder Davis. Then he became Pastor Davis. Then he became Bishop Davis. Then he became General Bishop Davis. I have followed Elijah Davis Jr. for 45 years of my life, starting out in Pitts Chapel. He was just a member of the male chorus, and then the Lord elevated him from the male chorus to being the General Bishop of the Unified Free Will Baptist Churches Incorporated. And I also want to say, as a part of history, on the other end of Brewster Street, Brewster and Dixwell, is the Bishop Austin Atkinson Way, who was the founder of the church, where Bishop Davis is directly related to him and his wife. So history is taking place on the corner of now Bassett and Brewster Street, and then on the other end is Martha Green's Way, Pastor Martha Green, which was a pioneer they all came out of Pitts Chapel. Yes, I can say Bishop Davis has put his time in. He's done a great work. May the work I've done, as the hymn writer say, speak for me. So my heart goes out to Bishop Davis. I can truly say I've been with him the whole entire time of his ministry, from the age of 9 up until this point. And I must add, we are from the greatest cities in the world, which is called Greenville, North Carolina. So I can say Bishop Elijah Davis, Dr. Elijah Davis, Bishop Elijah Davis, General Bishop Elijah Davis, First Lady Esther Hardy Davis. They put their time in. And all I can say is, it is my prayer and my hope, along with Alderwoman Clyburn and all the persons in the community and the Pitts Chapel Church community, which is a historical church in our community, that you will bestow this wonderful, significant, auspicious occasion for Dr. Elijah Davis Jr. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so
Amen.
much for your testimony.
You're quite welcome.
Really
Yes.
appreciate it. It sounds like he
I
truly
appreciate you including me.
he climbed the ladder.
He
Okay.
climbed the ladder. Amen. Amen. And you can't take that away from nobody. He did his work, and it is my prayer that the Lord will continue to bless him. And to the new pastor of the church, we was born together, we was raised together. I salute him and his endeavors to continue the history and the legacy of the Free Will Baptist Church called Pitts Chapel that was organized in 1933. And my prayer is that the work will continue spiritually as well as naturally. Amen.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you. Praise the Lord. Amen. God bless.
Amen.
Amen.
I am going to now move on to phone number with ending in 1200. If you could state your name and address for the record and then go right into your testimony. And to unmute, please hit *6.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair. My name is Darrell McClam. My address is 64 Judwin Avenue, New Haven, Connecticut, 06511. As I stated before, I'm the new pastor of Pitts Chapel Unified Free Will Baptist Church, which is a distinct honor to be able to serve in the capacity of pastor. I want to just say one or two things about my Bishop Elijah Davis, who I love dearly, and his wonderful wife, and he has 2 children who I adore so much, a granddaughter. He and my father were so tight. You know, we started out, I'm also at 95 Dixwell Avenue, McClam Funeral Home. They worked together in the church. As a child, I was running around bad in Pitts Chapel. The ushers had to sit me down because I was so bad. They would give me mints to make me be quiet. And there was a man there. He's about 6'1", and his name was Elijah Davis. He migrated from North Carolina. He's a veteran who served in the armed forces. He's a man that loves this community, loves the church, and loves preaching the gospel. And as I close, Jesus simply says in John 9, he says, I must work the works of him who sent me while it's day, for the night cometh and no man can work. And Bishop Elijah Davis followed the command of the Lord when he went to work, and followed after his command when he preached the gospel, followed after his command when he tried to change his life. When we drive by the corner of Shetland Avenue and Brewster Street and see his name on that street sign, it'll show those little children and the community what you can do if you put forth an effort. He is the man that deserves this, and I want to say this. In our community and how things are going today, they need to be uplifted. And I want to tell you today that Bishop Elijah Davis is a man dear to my heart. He's my father in the gospel. And he mentored me, and he still mentors me to this day. And he and his wife and his family has put in a lot into this community. And most of the time, most people are not only recognized until the funeral. But this is a time and an opportunity now where not only this community, but all the people that sit in office today, we can ratify this to make sure that Bishop Elijah Davis Jr., his legacy and everything that he's done on Brewster Street and throughout this city will live a lifetime. Thank you for your time. I appreciate this opportunity to speak to you this evening.
Thank you for your testimony. It's greatly appreciated. I will now go to the next testifier, 6226, phone number ending in 6226. If you could unmute by hitting *6 and state your name and address for the record. Again, 6226, do *6 to unmute.
My name is Elder Gloria Brown. I live in Bridgeport, Connecticut. My address is 285 Hollister Avenue, Bridgeport, Connecticut, and I'm associate minister at English Chapel Cathedral of Miracles in Bridgeport. Also, Bishop Elijah Davis is my general bishop. I would love to see the street named after him because he is a man after God's own heart. He never forsaken anyone. He never looked down on anyone. He always, one will put you aside and not think about you. He will press in that crowd and pick you out and use you. I can testify that one week he had to go away and he needed somebody to run the church, even though he had ministers. And he called me. And I said, should I ask my pastor? And he said, who called you? God? But yeah, ask him, and I'll ask him too. And not only that, he deserved a street to be named after him because when they had the trouble in Newtown, Bishop Elijah Davis was called there to pray. But when the people got in distress after midnight, he had to turn around and go back and pray. And to God be the glory. From New Haven to Newtown to pray over the firemen and the polices and all the members that was there. And when I became a general person, everyone else didn't put me in that position, but he saw fit to sit back and allow me to become the general home mission president. And I give God all the glory for that. He's such an awesome man. And behind the man brings a good woman. And Lady Davis is an awesome lady. And I think it's well due for his name to be there. Not that we're going to praise the street, but we're going to go by and say, oh, I know that man right there lived the way that sign is looking. And that's what I want to see. And not only that, when the young man and Miss Elder Hardy can also testify, they needed a prayer visual. And Bishop could have said no. Elder Hardy said, we want you to pray. And I said, let me speak to Bishop. And Bishop said, go ahead. And he came out there and he allowed me to pray for the young man, Taurus, and also his nephew that was in the fire. So God, I've seen so much. When we travel, he's there. When we are in Bridgeport, he's there. Everywhere we go, he's there. You know, when it becomes the body of Christ and we got to move in different places. He even let my pastor, before he died, he made sure the bus was ready to take him to New York to celebrate his banquet to become Dr. X. So I'm saying that we need to let that door be open. And I remember I went to Chris, his son, maybe 2-3 years ago, and said we wanted this done. But now we're going to see it happen, hopefully, if everyone approve and everyone vote and everyone to say, amen. That's my testimony.
Thank you. Thank you for your passionate testimony. And I'm happy he had such significant value to your life as well. So I appreciate your testimony. I will move on to the next testifier, which is 4640, phone number ending in 4640. If you could unmute by hitting *6 on your phone, stating your name and address for the record and going right into your testimony, that would be great.
Yes, hi. My name is Christopher Davis. I am the son of Bishop Elijah Davis. My address is 184 Island Terrace Road in the state of North Carolina. You know, I want to start my testimony by just saying thank you to the board just for hearing this. I think it's an honor and a privilege that you've taken the time to even, just entertain the idea of being able to name a street after my father. So I just want to just tell you a couple things about him. But before I do that, I also want to say it was also a great privilege to hear, some of the testimony about Mary Griffin. I didn't personally know her, but when you hear stories about people who have contributed to the community, which I grew up in, that's also just an honor. So when I listen to all the testimonies that we've heard before and all the passion and just all the nice things that people have said, that's really humbling as a young man. That's my dad. So when you talk about parents, you always want to hear good things. But I started, my dad started pastoring Pitts Chapel when I was 16 years old. So if you think about a young man who now has a father that's a pastor, where his true calling is a life of service. You think about, all the things that he had to go through and all the things that he did. A lot of times, I'm driving him around because it was late at night and he wanted somebody to go with him. So throughout the years, I went to a lot of the shootings back in the early 90s and all those things that was happening over there. We're going to rough neighborhoods. One of the things that he had on his side was that, at that time I was a Connecticut trooper, which I retired from after 22 years of service in that state. But he had that opportunity to put someone in a car that could take him to these rough neighborhoods and, give him some comfort. We both had a life of service. If you hear a lot of the people that speak about Bishop Elijah Davis, we talk a lot about the family. My whole family has come from a life of service. So when you think about a young man, after that started with his father at 16 years old, and then I look at my age now and I'm 51, I've done my career as a trooper, I've retired. Like I said, we have other people in our family who have been law enforcement. We have other pastors, other bishops. We have judges in our family. So when you think about the life that the Davis family has lived, and not only the Davis, I'm just using that name since that's what we're talking about, but it's an extended family. All my cousins, cousin Sean and the people that he named. When you look at it at my age now at 51 years old, and I've been with him, to me to come back and say, hey, I started with him when I was 16 years old. And as a man, I'm able to come back and say, hey, you know what? This is the right thing to do to honor my father for the years of service that he provided. Coming from that background, and I'm sure you were in public service, there's some days you're going to have to make some good decisions that everybody like, and there are days that you make the tough decisions. But very rarely do you get the opportunity to be honored for your years of service of what you have done. And when I think about 35 years of being in that community, I watched the feeding, the food pantries that we've had throughout the years. I watched the clothing pantry that we did. I mean, just years, the community center that we opened, all the different visions, and the way that a lot of the members of the church, would move into the community, and then they would join the church just from word of mouth. I mean, he's very popular in that neighborhood. So again, I just want you, the takeaway to be from my testimony is that I think everyone on the phone, if nothing happens, I feel like he's been honored just from everyone, the board, as well as the citizens, taking the time out to even present it to this board. To me, that's my takeaway. That has really fulfilled me. That has made me a very proud son. And I wish his grandchildren was on the phone and could hear what everyone is saying about their grandfather. I think that, we all go through life and we all want to, love our parents. But I'm telling you, being a man at 16 and then you're still standing by your father's side 35 years later saying that he has lived the life, and it's a privilege and an honor to have him put up on a street. Again, I just think that speaks volumes. And that's all I have.
Thank you. And just so you know, this is recorded. So if you do want those grandchildren or any other family members to listen to the testimony in honor of your father, they can listen to the recording of this meeting. So thank you for all your words. You definitely should feel pride in your heart for your dad, because he sounds like an amazing person who has been a true community leader. So thank you for your words. I will now go to number 0316. So phone number ending in 0316. If you could *6 your phone, state your name and address for the record, and go right into your testimony, please.
Madam Chairman, Dennis Carr, Elder Dennis Carr, 82 Country Hills Road. What can I add to what's already been said about General Bishop Elijah Davis? I've been by his side maybe a little under 30 years. He ordained me as a minister and then ordained me as an elder, and I'm grateful for that. And everything you heard, madam, is true, and there's some. I like to add this one thing. He's been a drum major for peace. He's been a drum major for love, but mostly he's been a drum major for Christ. You could take Bishop Davis and walk him down Shelton, Dixwell, Butler, Reed Street. Someone would holler out, "Hi, Bishop Davis." You can take him downtown. Someone would see him and say, "Hi, Bishop Davis." You can take him to East Haven, West Haven, North Haven, Hampton. He's well known and well loved. This is a small honor for a great man. And not only that they have to realize that he's a general bishop. That means he has bishops under him. And at one time, he actually overseen maybe a little under 100 churches when the Unified was really, really strong, and it still is strong. And he's actually mentoring and helping bishops to stay together in the Unified. He's a great man. I mean, he had the churches, he has his family, he had his job, and he had me. And I'm grateful, and my family, and I'm grateful for that. And yes, I am a family member. I am a cousin. And Madam Chairman, this is all I have to say. He's a great man. The street will, when they see that name, they will be a symbol of hope, prosperity, love, and salvation. There's no one that I know that can preach Christ and salvation better than Bishop Davis. He not only preaches, but he lives it. I've been under him a little under 30 years, and he's been the same day in and day out. There's so much that I can go on and say, but I'm going to yield my time for someone else, man. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. It's greatly appreciated.
You're welcome.
Misty, is there anyone else that was looking to testify? I see a couple of other numbers in the attendee list. There's, Reverend McCray. Good evening, Reverend. If you could state your name and address for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Yes, I'm Reverend Wayne McCray. I'm at 140 Lloyd Street in New Haven. I also would like to testify because Bishop Elijah Davis, he's a mentor to me, and, you know, he's also a family, but he's also a great father figure to this community. And we need to instill those, and the Bible says that there's signs and wonders that will follow. Literally, we need to post his sign in this community, you know, for, you know, the example that he set as a manservant of God and also as a pillar in this community. And there are so many churches that have came out from under Pitts Chapel, and he's raised up so many other leaders, and he's a true mentor and someone that I would continue to follow and give an ear to hear his wisdom, because he has paved the way for the generations that are coming behind. And it's valid. We don't have too many figures that we can uphold in the Black community as well. And so this man, he's touched many lives, and he's really deserved this honor to be recognized in this way. And that's my testimony.
Thank you for your testimony. Greatly appreciated, and for your kind words.
And God bless him. Yes.
Yes, amen to that. Misty, is there anyone else that you know of that was looking to testify?
Not that I know about, but they are several members of the public still present.
Okay, is there anyone from the public that would like to testify? Please raise your hand if you can. Misty, if they're on the phone, because it looks like it's folks on the phone, what do they need to do to identify themselves if they want to speak?
The people that are on the phone, we've already allowed them in to speak, I believe, except let me allow this one person in to check.
There's a 2687 number that I don't think we heard from.
Hello.
Hi, if you could state your name and address for the record and proceed with your testimony, please.
I'm Deacon Joe J. Davis, 12 Charlton Woods, Hampton, Connecticut. And before I give my testimony, I just want to say that there are about 15 other people who tried to log in but having trouble doing so. I wasn't able to do so myself, and thank you for allowing me to come in this way. I want to begin by saying I'm a deacon at Pitts Chapel. I'm a former New Haven police officer. I'm a retired Connecticut State Police captain after I served for 35 years. Bishop Davis is my brother. He's been at Pitts Chapel as pastor for 35 years. No other pastor has served at Pitts Chapel for that length of time. That whole 35 years, Bishop Davis was at one church, Pitts Chapel. During that time, he did some tremendous things for Newhallville. We had a community center on the corner. Back during the time when people were afraid of people with AIDS, we would welcome them in, give them information where they could go and seek help, get counseling, providing clothes and other necessities that they need. We had Christmas parties for kids, gave away hundreds of toys. And I was the Santa Claus in a red and white suit, came in on a fire truck. A lot of kids who wouldn't have had a happy Christmas or may have had a Christmas, but not as bright as it was, thanks to us. But we did it for the kids. We enjoyed doing it because we knew that one day those kids will be paying that back. And I point out, because one of those kids that came to those Christmas parties was one of your very own, Lieutenant Newt Rankins. And now look at what he's doing for the community. It's a cycle. When you do things for kids and they grow up and they appreciate it, they'll pass it on. And that was our intention and hope, that the kids that came in and sit on my lap will one day have some kids sit on their lap. We took kids to different venues, baseball games. We took them down to the theater in New Haven, and these kids did not want to go. We made them go. When that program was over, we had so much love and hugs and kisses. They enjoyed it, but they hadn't had that experience. We had to teach them that experience. We had an AAU basketball team. We took kids not only around Connecticut, around New England. We took them to the national championship down in Florida 3 years in a row. All expenses paid. We flew down 15 boys and 15 girls. We had a cheerleading squad also. These are experiences the kids had never experienced. I remember at the airport, everybody was crying. Nobody was going to get on the plane. Well, they got on the plane. And when it took off, you could hear the kids sucking wind. But once it got air, everybody clapped, and the pilot came on the board and said how proud he was of our kids. And we exposed kids to things that they may not have been exposed to. We had a boys and men program where we took in kids that didn't have fathers in their home. We tried to teach them skills and things that a father teach their sons, in hopes that we can get them out of these ruts that they're in and get them on the right path. Down in the Army, Bishop Davis also was in the Connecticut National Guard. So was I. We had a National Guard youth program down on Guard Street, where we brought in so-called problem kids that they couldn't handle in school. Those are the kids we wanted. We brought them in, got them in uniform, teach them the drill, teach them right from wrong. And we had one kid who was always a prankster, and we told him to put him out of the program. Well, guess what? He came back and apologized. That's something the kids don't do. He wanted to stay in the program. He loved the program. We have winter coat programs. We give out winter coats, give out food. He does so much for the community when there are problems in the neighborhood. I can remember when people get shot, young ladies get raped. Bishop Davis walked the streets of New Hartville. He walked the streets. He talked to the community in the streets, trying to remain calm and get peace back into our neighborhood. And I'm going to tell you something else. Brewster Street is not the best street in New Haven. He could have gone to other churches, but that's the one he wanted. He wanted to be where the problems are by his choice. And he remained there, even though he had opportunity to go to other churches. He didn't do that. He wanted to stay in New Hartville because these people need me. That's where he wanted to be, to help these people. Which a lot of people would have passed on a big opportunity, a brighter day, but he wasn't being selfish. He was thinking about the community, the New Hartville community, keeping it safe, giving these young men some leadership, some guidance, so they know they are the future. We had fellow young men who was going to the court system. He was there for them, spoke on their behalf, got the judges to keep them from going to jail, to have them come to church. He's such a tremendous individual and put people first. That's his love, helping people. Let them know that they can do better. There's a better way. Anytime you ask for advice, he sit down, he had no problem doing that. He's left his house many times in the middle of the night when people have personal issues. He go out and counsel them. And then I didn't hear the other testimonies, so I don't know how much he was told, how much he wasn't told, but he also was a state police chaplain. When those little kids got murdered up there by the crazy nut, he went up not only counsel police officers, because they need counseling too. When you see 20 kids massacred, that affects you. And most of the police officers have young kids themselves. He counseled them. So he didn't just only do New Hartville. Where he was needed, he did. But New Hartville was his main focus because that's where his church lies. He's a great man. He'll do anything to help his community, the people in the community. And I just can't say enough about him. If anybody deserves to have a name on the street corner, it's General Bishop Elijah Davis. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Deacon Davis. Appreciate your testimony. I will now move to, I see a name, M. Carr. If you could unmute yourself by selecting *6 on your phone, stating your name and address for the record, and go right into your testimony, please. There you go. Go ahead. I see you're unmuted.
Hello, my name is Mother. Hello, my name is Mother Jean Carr. I live at 79 2nd Street in Hamden, Connecticut. And I would like to say about my pastor, Bishop Elijah Davis. I hit the sidewalks for him and collected those signatures because if anybody's name should be on that corner, it should be his name. I had a problem. I lost my husband at an early age. Bishop Davis and Lady Davis was there for me and my 2 children. I have been with him the whole 35 years. I have worked with him and Lady Davis all 35 years nonstop. We look at COVID-19 now and see the people lining up for food. But I'm going to take you back some years ago. There wasn't COVID-19, but we had the center of Dixwell Avenue, community center right there where we were giving away clothes and food back when there was no COVID-19. That line, when I worked on that line was from Dixwell Avenue all the way down to the sign, Shelton Avenue. That's how many people was out there. We went all the way around the corner because people was in such big need back then. And a lot of people was losing jobs, and factories was closing down, and Bishop Davis just took upon themselves to go out and feed all the people in the community. And not only that, I worked with him on bringing the people that's coming out of jail, the prisoners.
we would have them to come in, sign their names. I would take all the information, me and another member of the church, and we was going out helping them get jobs, giving them clothes and food, and helping them find a place to stay. So it's a whole lot of history in Pitts Chapel Church for the 35 years. And if anybody deserved to be on that sign, it should be Bishop Elijah Davis, because he's very well known, and a lot of people would not walk that corner, Brewster Street or Dixwell Avenue, but Bishop have been out there. And all those guys that you see on that corner down there, they love Bishop Elijah Davis. They love him. And anytime that we have cookouts or having funerals, everything, he always tell me to go and get the people and bring them into church when we have food left over and feed all the guys out there on the corner. So he is a good man. He deserves to be out there on the sign. And I just hope and continue that God will continue to bless him, because he has blessed so many people in the New Hartville community. And I hope and pray that God will continue to bless him and that he can go forward with his life and his wife. They're just like my family. They took me in as sisters and brothers. I love them to death. But one thing about it, Bishop Davis never turned his back on none of the members. Anytime they needed stuff, I'm president of the home mission. A lot of times the people would have needed food to go in their house. A lot of times Bishop Davis would call me and tell me what to do. We would take care of people that didn't have food in the house. We also took care of people that didn't have enough money to even pay to get into apartments. And we did that. We put a lot of people into apartments and helped them get furniture, clothing. We even took care of people that was from New Orleans when they had the big flood. We even went to people's houses. Someone moved up here to Connecticut. We took care of them. So Bishop Davis is a man of God. He's a lot of wisdom, and he always have looked out for people and always willing to help people. And that's my testimony why I want that sign, his name out there. Those little kids over there, that school across the street, some of the kids that I have a junior choir at the church, a lot of those kids go to that church over there that sings in the choir. And it would be nice for them to come out and see Bishop Davis' name on that sign to say, that's my pastor. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. I do see a hand up in the attendees, Chandra Winford. If we could, Misty, let her in. Okay, Ms. Winford, if you could state your name and address for the record, please, and just follow with your testimony.
Let's see. Hello, my name is Chandra Winford. I live 9976 Ashton Old Road in Douglasville, Georgia. But I am born and raised from New Haven, Connecticut. I didn't leave until after I graduated from Wilbur Cross in 1988. And Pitts Chapel is my home church. Bishop Elijah Davis is my uncle. And, you know, even when I come home to visit, to be able to see the younger kids that were in the church with me now serving and being in leadership positions, helping the other kids, just shows the type of leader that he is. And even my own sister, who, you know, really wasn't into it, now being over the youth and driving the van, taking kids on trips and being an encouragement to the younger generation is, you know, just speaks of who he is. And just, you know, being able to come back and to see that we have honored the legacy that he has made in that community. Because like someone, you know, my uncle had said, he could have gone to other churches, but he chose to stay in that community. And so I feel like it's an honor that, you know, he is due. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us from lovely Georgia.
Yes, you're welcome.
And go Governors.
Yes.
Again, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on behalf of either Mary C. Griffin Corner or General Bishop Elijah Davis Jr. Corner? Misty, I think from seeing the names and phone numbers, I think we heard from all of the folks wanting to testify. Are you getting that sense as well? I just don't want to forget anyone.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. At this time, I will ask again, is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on behalf of any of our items on the agenda this evening? For a second time, is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on any of the agenda items? Please raise your hand. And for the third time, is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on behalf of any of the items on the agenda this evening?
Madam Chair, I move to close the public section.
Second.
Second.
Okay, the public portion has been moved and seconded. Is everyone in agreement? Please say yes or no. Alder DeCola,
Yes.
Alder Roth,
Yes.
Alder Winter,
Yes.
Alder Singh,
Yes.
Alder Smith, and I'm a yes. The public portion is closed.
Madam Chair, I move item 1 as a read and file.
Second.
Okay, item 1 has been moved and seconded. Any discussion to read and file this item? Any discussion, please raise your hand. Oh, yes, Alder Roth.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the members of the public who brought this before us. I think it's an important issues to discuss, and I appreciate the folks from the city who came and who responded to the questions. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alder Roth. Is there any further discussion from the committee members regarding item number 1? I echo Alder Roth's words. I think we ran a really good election the last time. I don't expect any difficulties. Most of our questions have been answered. And again, just so everyone is clear, if you have any further questions, concerns, suggestions, please forward them on to the registrar and the city clerk's office. And I thank you guys too for working hard with making sure the transition, particularly during these challenging times, was smooth. Okay, all in favor of read and filing this item, please say yes or no. Alder DeCola,
Yes.
Alder Roth,
Yes.
Alder Winter,
Yes.
Alder Singh,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. The yeas have it. We'll move on to item.
Madam
number 2. Do I
Chair,
hear a motion?
Madam Chair, I move item 2, Mary C. Griffin, a favorable recommendation, and to make it a UC.
Second.
Okay, the item has been moved and seconded, and just to be clear, it has been recommended for UC item. Are there any discussions regarding this item? Please raise your hand.
Madam Chair, I moved it as UC. I'm assuming that there's a time limit. They want to do a ceremony in the warmer weather, so that's why I'm figuring UC.
Thank you, Alder DeCola. Yes, you are correct. It looks like there are celebrations being planned for September. So any other discussion regarding item 2 for the Mary C. Griffin corner naming? Just raise your hand if you do. I'll just add that these corner namings, and this refers to both of our items, are always a pleasure to hear. It's good to know the community activism that is out there from the different neighborhoods, and let their names be reflected as a corner naming, as an example for the youth, for the elderly, and for anybody in between. And it's always a pleasure to hear all these beautiful comments and testimonies from family members, friends, and community members in encouraging us to reflect on the good of people around our city. Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor of this item for the corner naming of Mary C. Griffin Corner, please say yes or no. Alder DeCola,
Yes.
Alder Roth,
Yes.
Alder Winter,
Yes.
Alder Singh,
Yes.
and I am a yes as well. So the item will move forward to the full board as a UC item at our next full Board of Alder meeting.
Madam Chair, I would like to move favorable recommendation for the corner of General Bishop Eliza Davis Jr. and to make it UC too.
Second.
Okay, the item has been moved and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Please raise your hand. Okay, again, I just will reiterate what I said, and also as a reminder, this is a UC item that will be heard in at our next meeting. All those in favor of moving this item with a yay or a nay, please respond. Alder DeCola,
Yes.
Alder Roth,
Yes.
Alder Winter,
Yes.
Alder Singh,
Yes.
and I am a yes as well. The item passes, and we look forward to the meeting to vote on these items as the full Board of Alders.
Madam Chair, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor of adjournment, Alder DeCola,
Yes.
Roth,
Yes.
Winter,
Yes.
Singh,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. I want to thank you all for your patience tonight. We had some difficulty starting up with communication. So have a wonderful evening, everyone. And thank you all the attendees for being here tonight as well. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, all.
Good night, colleagues.
Good night.